I got it recorded on the Zoom, so I'm gonna, like I said, edit all this out. But we'll get straight to it right now. So, got Schea Cotton, Southern California, world, United States, all over the world legend. Again, like I said, man, we appreciate you coming on here and chopping it up and giving us some good games. So, like I said, we definitely, like I said, want to give you your flowers while you're here. So, I just, like I said, want to go ahead and look at some of these accolades that you got going on. Two-time All Southern Section Division I Player of the Year, 1994-95. All Southern Section Division I Player of the Year, 95. California Division I Player of the Year, 1995. 14 Parade All-American 1995, which is crazy because California's got, the best hoop in my opinion, but that's crazy, 14. The next year you come back, first team Parade All-American. So from first to fourth, crazy. Again, junior college All-American 1999, second team All SEC in 2000. So, man, incredibly talented, like I said, decorated career you had, man. Let's kind of get into like the early years. Where'd you grow up, and what was your childhood like?
Grew up in the LA Harbor area, San Pedro by way of Long Beach. Started in baseball when I was young. Just the parents wanted to keep me and my brother off the streets, keep us busy. We both had a lot of energy, so baseball we gravitated to. We had a natural feel, was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And we enjoyed it, just got to the point where we got kind of bored with it, I think around 11, 12, right around that time. Decided to pick up the basketball, started playing in the local park in Pedro, Peck Park, which is up on Western, and had a natural feel for the game. I would always play on the playground when I was a kid in grade school, at recess and lunchtime and stuff. So I always enjoyed the game, but baseball had my heart at that time. So I grew bored with it. Picked up the rock and never let it down. I mean, probably about 10 years old, I started hooping and graduated the ranks pretty quick, from the Park League to LA Slam and Jam, which was Izzy Washington, rest in peace. That was his claim to fame. And a lot of the LA guys that came out of here at that time, that's where we went. We either went Slam and Jam or, the LA Watts games, or, there was only a few teams.
Yeah, Izzy, man, that's actually one of my uncles. One of my uncle's best friends back, actually. So when we moved, I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana, and when we moved from Shreveport to Carson to live with my uncle, one of Izzy's good friends. They used to play adult leagues and stuff like that. So me and my brother again, he's a class of 1996, Long Beach Jordan, played at Cerritos College, went to Cal State Northridge. So again, he played in your era, played against you at, when you were at Long Beach City. But again, like I said, so coming into the Slam and Jam, like, were you killing early on, or like, when you first picked up the rock, even at Peak Park, were you killing early on, like just way more dominant than everybody else?
I had a natural feel, and I think I had a chip on my shoulder, so there was something driving me, dealing with stuff, my personal life, and needed a way to express myself. But yeah, I was doing some great things on the floor from young, and I always played against the older guys. So I got used to playing up against bigger, stronger opponents. So I didn't have that fear factor. And I think that's what really made me different from a lot of the other kids that was coming up at that time, because I had already been testing myself against guys 2, 3, 4 years older than me. So when I played against my peers, I pretty much did what I wanted to do. And that's why I went up the ranks so quick, from Park to the AAU stuff, from the Slam and Jam into Cerritos Jaguars with Joe Perry, and then on into, PTI, Performance Training Institute with Pat Barrett, which was now Southern California All-Stars. I believe he still has a program.
Yeah. And again, I heard in a documentary, I think it was Toby Bailey. He said that he usually paid like 1 or 2 ages up. And he said that you were playing 4 grades up the other kids. That's crazy, man. I never heard that. We are playing a year or 2 up, but playing 4 years up, that's crazy.
Yeah, especially in a generation like now where you got 2 and 3-year holdbacks.
Right, so exactly.
I was younger. These guys are older.
Exactly. That's crazy. That's wild. That's crazy. Like I said, man, like, again, if you would have came up in this era, man, Lord help everybody, because
right.
Man, I know, like I said, another person, like I said, watching the documentary, I watched it a couple times yesterday, and a couple people just were saying how you were just so much more dominant than everybody else that you could have probably left high school as a sophomore. Is that something that you think that you could have probably done?
Yeah, I mean, I think if my mind was set to that, I know I could have did it. I think at that time it wasn't as prevalent, but it was on my mind a little. From my understanding, my parents told me that Jerry West was coming to my games as a sophomore in high school, talking, to my parents about my future. So they try to keep that stuff quiet because I had so much notoriety at that time. I mean, I'm, the number one player in the country at this time. With Sports Illustrated, the 4-page layout when Brazil won the World Cup. I mean, that was the pinnacle for us at that time. I mean, there was no social media, so if you got the Sports Illustrated, you was definitely on your way. You know, and at that age, there was really nobody else that did that, with the exception of a guy, Barnabas James, that grew up in L.A. I think that didn't really pan out. Not exactly sure the details of it. And then Kevin Garnett, who came out of high school, was the most notable, and then Kobe was to follow, and then everybody was expecting for me to be next.
Right. And again, like I said, RIP to Kobe for sure, which was crazy and tragic. What was it like going up against Kobe actually at that time? Were you somebody, because again, like you were your own person at that time. So were you, and obviously I don't think you were, but were you in awe of this guy at all? Or were you know what I mean? How'd you feel? Like, did you feel like you had his number, or were you like, this dude's the real deal?
Yeah, I wasn't in awe at all. I think, when we stepped on the floor, once that ball went up, everybody was the same. Always had pregame jitters and stuff. And I heard of Kobe a little bit before we played against each other, which was NBA players, NBPA top 100 camp in Princeton, New Jersey.
The very first one, right? Wasn't that the very first one?
Yeah, that was the first one. It was 95, sophomore summer going into my junior year, I believe. And I was on a high. We had just won the state title. I was State Player of the Year, CIF. Never been done since. John Wood Player of the Year. All these things. And to have the chance to play against him at that time I wanted to make my presence felt. We had a conversation the night before when we were eating in the cafeteria. There was some exchange of words and stuff like that. And that just kind of drove me a little bit more to show them what time it was. At that time, LA wasn't getting any credit. They thought the West Coast was soft. So, I feel like I had to hold the coast down. We played the next day. And, when I tell you I was like a pit bull off a muzzle, I mean, he bit off more than he could chew that day. So it was a hell of a matchup. I tell people it was one of my best one-on-one matchups. He was relentless as well as myself. And I was just a little too much, too strong, too physical, a little bit too well-rounded. And, my physical prowess with athleticism, I think, was just a tall order for him. So he really couldn't handle me. We wound up winning the game. It was a hell of a one-on-one matchup, but I think we had a mutual respect for each other and had a lifelong bond from that point on. So, it's unfortunate what happened to him, and rest in peace, at the same time.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's crazy. Again, like I said, being at that first one, like, what was your guys' mindset going into that camp, that knowing it was the first one, top 100? Were there other events like that you played in previous, or was that like the first time, like it was like, all those players that you had seen at one place?
I think it stood alone because we had all these NBA pros that were vets, guys that had retired, that were running the NBPA Top 100 camp. So my counselor was Darnell Valentine, who I grew up watching with the LA Clippers, with Ken Norman and Lloyd Vaught, Kimball. Kimball was over there, Bo Kimball, and, they had a crew. I mean, Charles, what was Charles' last name? He went to Pitt. Charles Smith, I think it was.
Charles Smith, yeah.
They had a squad, you know what I mean? So, like, to be able to to be able to play in front of the NBA vets, guys that have retired, like Darnell Valentine, Purvis Short, Bobby Dandridge. I mean, these are the older guys that played in the league before Jordan and them came in, that pretty much was paving the way for the guys to come, to be able to perform in front of them on and off the court, to show my professionalism and, my skill set and just my character in a week's experience in the NBPA Top 100 was nothing like it. I mean, I was a 3-time Nike Camp All-American in a row. So there was nothing else at that time. Nike and Adidas,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
In the Boston Shootout, which was ran by Reebok and sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. And I did all of it. And I put my work in every event that I went into. So when I went to the NBPA Top 100, there was only 2 guys from Cali. It was me and the Collins twin.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Everybody else was from back east and down south in the Midwest. So I was kind of a loner there, and I was meeting people and connecting with cats, but I was on a mission. I wanted to show people that I could play and dispel that rumor that West Coast players were soft. And I felt like I did that.
Right. Absolutely, you did. So sorry to keep skipping around, but we'll go back to kind of like in 8th grade, man. I see some footage. I think it was at UC Santa Barbara somewhere, and you were dunking like a dude who was probably, like I said, in the NBA for probably like an NBA champion dunk contest. Like, I don't know, bro. You were jumping from so far in 8th grade. What was like how was that compared to everybody else that was playing? Like, was it easy? Was it like, what was that like?
It was easy at the time because the training was vigorous,
Right.
Training with me and my brother and my trainer, Mark Marinovich. At the time, I mean, he was cutting edge, and a lot of people were kind of scared to train with him. They thought he was crazy, and he was aggressive in your face, and he really pushed you. And it was right on time for me, man, because my father wasn't no joke. So it resonated with me, just that straight edge, come put your hard hat on and go to work type of thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. I just can't see you.
Let me end this. My mom's trying to.
Oh, you good? Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, my fault.
Yeah. No, you good?
It just cut off.
No, you good. So one of my good friends, one of my best friends, actually, shout out to Lloyd Cotton. His dad has a picture in his chiropractic office, and it's the craziest picture I've ever seen, bro. It's somewhere, you in the backyard somewhere. You got your hand cocked back. You can see literally every muscle in your back, bro, in 8th or 9th grade. I don't know, like I said, so the training must have been ridiculous. Obviously, you were coming up after his son, Mark Marinovich's son, Todd, right? So you were basically like his next prodigy, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I was training with Todd. Todd,
Todd
Marinovich, Tom Lewis, Ed O'Bannon, my brother, Charles O'Bannon. That was like the core nucleus that trained pretty much with Marvin, my AAU coach, Pat Barrett. So it was a tight-knit circle of guys that was really committed to being the best they could be. And all these guys were older than me. They were at least 2.5, 3 years older, everybody. And my brother was probably the youngest one out of all of them,
That's great.
And I was a puppy. So you
shout out to Ed and Charles. That's actually my second cousins, both of them. So shout out to both those dudes, man.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, that's crazy, man. What was it like? So in 8th grade, was there any other schools that were in the running besides the 2 that you ended up obviously, going between Bosco and Mater Dei? Was there any other schools? Obviously, and why not Long Beach Jordan, man? Because
I would have went to the east side. I would have went to Poly. That would have been the play. But Palmer at the time was very deliberate with the offense. They wasn't scoring enough, and I wanted to play more of an up tempo and get out and transition and really have some fun when I had the opportunity. And the way that he coached was a little different, so that wouldn't have been a good fit.
Sure.
Crenshaw was an opportunity. Dominguez had interest. Oak Hill, all the schools locally. that had a name was pretty much interested. But my heart was set. I was going to Bosco initially. Things wasn't really working out there as a freshman, so I got out of there before the season and started the conference or whatnot, our league. And I wound up going to Mater Dei because I watched them playing AAU ball. My AAU coach used to coach at Mater Dei. And I really liked the program and what they stood for. And always had a fine liking for Coach McKnight because he just seemed to be like a guy that had the respect and everybody knew it. And, it was like the head of the tail. And it was the most storied program still to this day. USA Today top 25 every year. Lifetime Nike sponsorship as well as Gatorade, and they play a national schedule. So it was an easy call for me, and it was like right on time.
For sure, man. That's one of my worst decisions ever, going to Brea Linda over Mater Dei. For sure. So again, okay, going back to 8th grade, you ended up going to Bosco, going to Mater Dei, winning State Player of the Year as a sophomore, which is unheard of. How was that year?
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, I think our only loss, was to Oak Hill with Ron Mercer, I believe, in a Vegas tournament around the holidays. And they were loaded. They hold top 5 with D1. Right. I gave them about 38, and we lost by, I think, about 3 points somewhere in there.
Wow.
So
Where was that at? Where was that at?
That was in Vegas at Durango High School. It was like a Christmas tournament, I believe.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So again, like I said, State Player of the Year, and then you come back to Bosco, right? Your junior year?
Correct. Senior year.
Your senior year.
I did. Yeah, you're right. I did 2 years at Mater Dei, freshman and sophomore.
Right.
And then I came back to Bosco and finished my junior year. That summer, I tore my shoulder up, so I didn't play my senior year. So a lot of my stats was done in 3 years, basically. And I was a McDonald's All-American that was voted in unanimously. But since I didn't play my senior year, they took the privilege for me to be able to play in the game back, but I obviously kept the accreditation.
Right. How was your junior year?
I went to work. I mean, Bosco, I think for one of the first times was ranked USA Today top 25 as well. We played a pretty good schedule. We beat St. John's Prospect Hall that had Rico Hines that went to UCLA with myself and Wooney Muhammad, who played at Clemson. Those were their 2 top guys and a host of other good players. We beat them at UC Irvine at that time. And our Bosco team, I think we may have lost like 3 games that season out of probably like 30-something games. So we had a really solid year, had a lot of fun. I was back in the LA area. And, I gave everything I had.
For sure. And again, I know, like I said, bouncing around, but you had an older brother, James Cotton. This was, I think, the year that James got drafted after your junior year, if I'm not mistaken, 96?
Right, exactly.
I remember that day like it was yesterday, bro. I felt like I said, I didn't know you guys from Adam, but just to see a guy locally from Long Beach get drafted, that was big for me, bro. Like I said, I didn't say this earlier, bro. Like before I knew about Jordan and Schea Cotton, like when I was a kid, it was like, that's the pedestal that it was for me. Like I said, I grew up in it, growing up in North Long Beach. My brother a year older than you. So the hype, I remember one time going to a game. I don't remember where we were at. We were at, I think, Artesia High School. Y'all had like a summer league or something. And that was my first time like seeing you and seeing the hype. And I remember the feeling I got in that gym. It was like, yeah, I got to be a part of it somehow, some way, bro. So again, like your legend, man, was crazy. And I don't think people, like I said, because social media wasn't around, people don't get it. But
right,
the buzz around you, bro, was insane. That I'm 8 years old, 9 years old, and I could feel and understand, what it was. So what was that attention like? You know what I mean? How did you compartmentalize all that at that time?
Man, I just felt, I looked at myself as a guy that had to show up and show out. I had to come to work and do my job. There was a lot riding on it. There was expectations, there was sponsorship. We were the first team on the West Coast to have a full-fledged Nike deal, endless product. And I think my coach made about $180,000 for about 4 months of work at that time with our AAU program, which was unheard of. So, just to give you some of the details of what that experience was like. I mean, it was like a walking rock band, and I'm the rock star,
Sure.
Our AAU team. So everywhere we went, sold out gyms, all the teams in the city was trying to beat us. You know, LA K-Swiss Pacers with Paul Pierce and Barron. He was gunning for us for like 6 years. You know, they couldn't beat us. So I think they helped drive him to become the all-star that he became and ultimately the Hall of Famer. So, you know, people need to realize this, like you said, before social media, there was nothing bigger in this city at that time than me. So it's like, where do you go from there when you've been on ESPN twice at 12, 13 years old before you even touch high school? You know, it's like, where do you go from there? How do you stay motivated? How do you stay driven? And that's something that I felt like I mastered in that pocket of about a 5-6 year period. I reigned supreme. And then injuries came in and, you know, obviously you can't control that. And then the momentum shift took place.
And from what I heard, you never let down, bro. It wasn't like a game where like, oh, Schea Cotton didn't do this, Schea Cotton didn't do that. They said you came to work every time you came, stepped on that floor. You know what I mean? There's no letdown. So that had to be, like I said, a crazy experience in itself. So your high school career, junior year goes well. You say you had an injury going into your senior year.
Yeah, I tore my shoulder my junior summer playing against Lamar Odom and the New York team, Long Island Panthers, in the Izzy Washington Slam and Jam NIT that was at Long Beach State. Sold out, packed gym. Biggie and Pac was in a big-time East-West beef at the time. So you had that tension in the gym. The East Coast teams was there. They pulling for each other, and you got us there, and then everybody from the West that's coming to support and watch the show. It was something for the ages, man. I wish I had that footage so people could see the hysteria of it. It was unreal. I mean, we talking about Long Beach State gold mine before they even built the pyramid. That thing was packed. I mean, from wall to wall. Like, it probably held 2,500 people. It had like 2,700 people in there. Put on a show. I mean, you know, I had, I think it was 40 points in like 3 quarters. I would have finished with like 60. I went up for a rebound. Me and Kareem Shabazz, which was their center, he's about 7 feet. He wound up playing at Florida State. We both got tied up on a rebound. I tried to grab it with one hand because I had a 41-inch vertical leap. So I'd get off the floor before everybody else. And I just go up and grab it and just kind of bring it back down. And he got intertwined with my arm. And I pulled back and he pulled forward and my shoulder snapped like a drumstick. So I tore my rotator cuff, had a reconstruction, and that sidelined me for about a 6-month period. So that, you know, that kind of washed my senior year.
And that was on your shooting hand?
Yeah, my left arm. Yeah,
wow.
Exactly.
Wow. And how was that rehab process? And, you know, was it frustrating? What was your thought process, you know, about, you know, going forward?
It was tough. A lot of reporters had written me off. People didn't know if I was going to be able to bounce back from it, you know, being a lefty and not really having this type of injury and how hard it is to come back from these type of injuries. It was a mental battle more than anything. You know, the physical therapy was vigorous. Lloyd Cotton Sr., my cousin, actually, you know, did the physical therapy for me. Does a great job, you know, really understands the body. I mean, I cried a lot of days on that table breaking up that scar tissue. So, you know, just to get back on the floor, to be able to have remnants of what I used to be, because I knew it was going to be tough because I lost like 30 degrees range in my arm. So that changes a player, whoever it is. And I still came back and was given buckets, but it was a different version of the man-child that they was used to seeing.
Wow. Okay. So set out your senior year. What was after that? After you know, the senior season?
Well, I looked at what school I was going to attend. I was going to go to Long Beach State to play with my brother for a year. We was going to do our thing and go as far as we could into the tournament and put our name in the hat and both go to the league together. So without giving up too much detail in the documentary, you know, for me, it was about making a name for myself after coming back from an injury. I could have went to the league, you know, but I wanted to show people that I could play in college where it would be undeniable that I'd be a lottery pick. And that was my intention. So my brother went hardship, obviously went to the league. That worked out. Decided to write a letter up to the NC2A to be released out of my commitment. Long Beach State granted it. And I chose to go to UCLA with Barron and Earl Watson, Rico Hines, Travis Reed, Billy Knight, rest in peace. We had a great team. You know, we had a great team. I guess it was too much talent in one school and everybody else was accepted but me. And it had nothing to do with my SAT score. I had passed it a year before that. So everybody was talking about you know, I wasn't smart and this and that. You know, they slandered my name in the media and they never corrected it. They never rectified the story or cleared my name. And they just dragged me through the mud for some time. So I had to live through that. I think that was one of the tougher things, you know, that false accusation that I was living under, knowing that I did everything the right way.
Absolutely. And in the movie, again, we want people to go out and see that. So again, if you haven't checked it out, definitely go check it out. I was at the premiere of it. I was super excited at that time, super excited to, again, tell it, to share it with anybody that I know. It's definitely a story that it resonates with not only athletics, but life too, because like I said, everybody goes through something, you know what I mean, that can, you know, hinder their career, you know, like I said, it doesn't have to be just athletics, just in life.
Absolutely.
It's something that needs to be shared. So again, go out and check out the MANCHILD documentary. It's on Amazon Prime. That's where I saw it. Where else can you check out
it's everywhere. It's streaming now. You know, you can rent it. You can purchase it. It's available. Amazon, iTunes is where we're getting all our sales, those two platforms. But it's on Vudu and all these other platforms as well. I can't name all of them, but the fastest way to get it will be to either go to my website, therealmanchild.com, and we have the link up on the website. You can check it out. Just click documentary, or go right into my IG at Schea Cotton and click the link in my bio at the bottom. It'll take you right in. You can purchase from whatever platform you like.
Already, yeah. Like I said, I definitely recommend people go see that. We got a couple more questions here for you, and then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. We'll hit. Let me see. Boom, boom. All right, so okay, so yeah, something I was wondering about in the documentary, you know, they say that you, without again giving up too much information, before the first day of your college career, you're supposed to go to class. You know, it's kind of explain that situation. What was that day like, man? Were you like on your way? Like what was that day like?
Yeah, I mean, we were just, you know, kids at the end of the day, young men, like trying to get a feel for everything. I'm at UCLA. I'm excited. You know, me, Baron, Earl, Billy, Rico, Travis Reed. This is the freshman class. We had a squad, man. I mean, the top of Toby and Kristan and Jelani and them that was there already. Yeah. I think Jelani had just went hardship to the league. But we had a squad, man. I mean, I was excited. I said, man, we're going to win a national title. So I was working hard, training every day, practicing. I was staying after, getting extra reps in the gym, working out, you know, running with Magic's crew, with all the UCLA pros and everything that would come through there. I mean, it was like, I knew that I was getting closer and closer and closer. And then going to class, I was just doing the best that I could, you know, to be available and make sure I was present and give the best effort I could so I can get decent grades and be able to be eligible so I wouldn't have to worry. It was our last class for the FSP, and you know, my proctor for the test we were taking, which was our person that was administering the test for that course, came up to me and brought a newspaper that basically said the NC2A validates my test score. I mean, you could have bought me for a penny. It was like my heart dropped into my stomach. It's just like, why is all this happening? You know, and without giving up too much, it's like if you could imagine somebody telling you, look, we're gonna give you an opportunity to live in Beverly Hills basically for the next 2-3 years, however long it took for you to make it.
Right.
You're gonna get a full scholarship paid for at one of the most prestigious institutions in North America. And then that's stripped from you from no wrongdoing of yourself. And then you're searching, trying to find a home from that point. And I wasn't interested in going to JUCO at that time. I always felt like that was a step down for me. And that's no knock to my love, Long Beach City, where I went. But that wasn't in the cards at the time. That wasn't my plan. I wanted to go, you know, high school to college and then college into the NBA. And I had to go another route, obviously. And the documentary is going to speak to that in depth.
Absolutely. I actually got some footage. Again, like I said, my brother played at Cerritos state championship year when they won in '99. And I got the footage of I think, what conference were y'all in? that conference championship, Long Beach City versus Cerritos. I think y'all were both undefeated or something like that, or something like that. I actually got the footage on VHS. I'll try to link that to you somehow.
Okay.
But,
For sure.
definitely. That was crazy. Like I said, for me, man, my brother, no knock to my bro. He did his thing. You know, he won a championship at every level that he went to. So no knock to him. But just to see my bro in the court with Schea Cotton, it was like, what? How did this happen, bro? Like, again, like I said, but that JUCO experience, did that kind of humble you, or how did that, affect you at all?
A little bit of both. I mean, it was humbling, and it just made me more hungry, because it was like, what am I doing here? But while I'm here, I got to kill what's in front of me. And that was my mentality. Every time I stepped on the court, it didn't matter who you was playing against. You got to give everything, because you never know who's watching. And the game that you don't succeed could be the opportunity that you worked all your life for. So I was always taught you're only as good as your last game. So I laid it on the line, and we had a record. I think we won about 32 or 33 games straight before we even lost a game. We set a school record. Yeah, I think I broke the scoring record in one season for Long Beach City College. I was averaging about 30 a game. So I went in there and did my thing for sure.
For sure. So, okay, so you ended up going to Alabama. What other schools were in the mix?
Everybody. I mean, Georgia Tech, UConn, UNLV, USC, UCLA came back around. Alabama, obviously, NC State, all the majors, Syracuse, all the big schools that you watch on TV, Big Money, Super Tuesday on ESPN at that time, they were all recruiting me pretty much. So I had to pick of the litter, and, I wanted to stay home, and I tried that. That didn't work. So, I had to do some different things. And obviously the documentary will speak to that. But I played in a lot of different areas. I played on the East Coast. I played out West, obviously being from here and going to school in the Southeast. I had a chance to just kind of take a tour, that I wasn't expecting to do. But since that's kind of what was called for, I had to just show up and do the best that I could, because, my name was riding on it. I knew that I was coming in, as a JUCO All-American, McDonald's and all of this stuff. And every game I played would be my opponent's biggest game. Against me. So they was giving me 150% every night. So I had to come with it.
For sure. So again, like I said, we definitely want people to go ahead and tap into the documentary to be able to kind of, fill in the gaps of what happened. You ended up going pro. What was your pro career like, and what was some of the positive things that you kind of took out of that?
Pro career was a bit of a roller coaster, just trying to find a home in a different country almost every year, different team. Learned a lot, got a lot of life experience, learned some different languages and stuff like that, enough to survive in different countries that I was in. Learned a lot about myself. It was a very dark time. It was lonely. It made me a man. I knew that once I overcame that it'd be a lot easier for me to survive back in North America when I got back home. That was my intention. Give everything I had, so I had no regret. So when the ball stopped bouncing, when I retired, I wouldn't have that resentment, or I wouldn't have that itch to scratch anymore. And I did that. So if nothing else, my pro career wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but I got a chance to see some beautiful countries, to do some worldly traveling. I played at the second highest level in the world, next to the NBA, playing in the Super League in Europe, in Serbia, KK Partizan, traveling to different countries, France, Greece, Italy, all these different countries playing. So I'm fortunate to have that. And, these experiences I take to my grave, and I hold them dear. Absolutely,
because a lot of guys, man, don't even get that opportunity. And
right.
Like I know your experience was different because of, the trajectory that you were on. But again, like I said, I know there had to be some days where you said, man, I'm at least getting paid to play ball. And,
right.
You had to be thankful and grateful for that. So did you feel like you were ever satisfied at all at any point? Like, okay, like, I'm cool. When you hung it up, were you ever satisfied?
Yeah. I mean, my daughter was born right around 30 years old. She's 12 now, I'm 42. So at that time, I was looking for something more, because I could see my career was starting to dwindle down, and that NBA door was closing shut.
Right.
So that drive was leaving me. There was a different hunger that was brewing to do something much more with my life. And I'm blessed to be in this position now to have this platform with the documentary and the mentoring that I've done and that I continue to do to help a lot of kids avoid, these adversities that I face so it doesn't happen to them.
Absolutely, man. And that's huge salute to you, because again, people need that. Because again, you know how it is these days. Every kid thinks that they're going to go D1 and, go to the league after a year because, a couple guys do it. But that percentage is small, man, very, very small. And a guy of your stature at that time, like I said, there wasn't anything bigger besides basically Michael Jordan to me.
Right.
So again, if that could happen to you, it could happen to anybody, man. And that's again a lesson that people, definitely need to hear. And we, again, like I said, just want to plug that documentary as many times as possible because again, it is something that's necessary, I think, for all walks of life. So we're gonna wrap it up here, man. One thing I did want to tap on, bro. I literally in the documentary, again, not to give up too much, but to know that you sent Randy Moss on his way to becoming one of the best, football players that we've ever seen because of a game that he matched up with Schea Cotton. Like, what is that? I feel like that kind of stuff got to be more meaningful than like your pro stuff because again, man, like who cares if it didn't work out? But because your name made an impact on the game, some way, somehow, and on multiple sports, not just basketball.
Right.
You influence, one of the greats to go do that. How does that make you feel?
It's refreshing, when you sit back and you look at your career, you look at your life and where you are, and it's like, I'm not where I thought I was going to be, but I know I'm on my way. And if these are my peers and they're speaking on my talent on that level, then I accomplished my goal. I mean, Randy Moss is probably one of the top receivers to ever play in the NFL next to Jerry Rice, in my opinion. And I mean, what he did on the football field, he made that look effortlessly. So for what he said in the documentary, that was from his heart. I mean,
from his heart.
To say I'm the most athletic player he's ever played against in high school, whatever. I mean, he was an athlete himself. So,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. And it's like to let a guy know that, all right, maybe this ain't for me just from playing against you. I think, like I said, to me, that kind of stuff is crazy. Couple quick hitters. What's your favorite artist musically?
Favorite artist right now musically, Dave East.
Dave East? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. I mess with East too. Your favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? Probably The Five Heartbeats.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, bro, tell me why I just learned maybe 2 years ago that the Five Heartbeats weren't real, bro. I thought they was a real group. I thought they was a real group. For real. That's how good the movie was. Favorite place that you've ever been?
Man, great question. I have a lot of fond memories from different places. I think the most beautiful place that I've visited would probably be Margarita Island, Venezuela.
Venezuela?
Yeah.
Is that like on the ocean or something?
Yeah. It's off the Atlantic and it's beautiful, tropical weather. The food's good. Obviously, the scenery's nice, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. So great experience.
The scenery was good all around. Okay. I'm a shoe guy, man. I'm a huge Nike head. Actually had the opportunity to work for Nike and all that stuff. So huge Nike head. And obviously you had the Nike plug. Kind of describe your Nike plug and what was something that you kind of got, because obviously you used to be the guy that used to get all the Nike gear, everything brand new, boxes sent. What was something that kind of was sent to you that was like, damn, okay, that's crazy?
All the latest and greatest that wasn't out in stores, from Andre Agassi to Michael Jordan. I mean, from every sport they made a sneaker for their top athlete. I was getting it in the mail. I mean, I had my stuff that I would get from Mater Dei when we was with the team. We had they had a lifetime Nike deal. So we had the team stuff that we get from Nike. And then I have my own Nike care packages that I would get pretty much on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, and it was literally just call up there. I'm looking through this catalog. I like this sweatsuit. I need this polo shirt. Yeah, I want that jacket. I need these shoes. So I wore a different pair of sneakers every game. So, and this is pre-social media. This is before LeBron was even discovered. people need to realize like what that really means to the coach.
This is in the era. This is in the era where guys were walking into the game or wearing their hoop shoes to school and hooping in them. So for a guy at that time to be hooping in a new pair of shoes was unheard of.
Right.
Unheard
right.
of.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Let alone Nikes.
Exactly. So what was the first, like, was something that you got, maybe a pair of J's where you're like, damn, I got the new J's, they sent me these, or like, what was like one shoe that you could remember?
Well, the ones that you got right there in the middle, the white and black, the patent leather joints.
Yes,
I
sir.
remember hooping in those a couple times. I like to wear them like with gear rather than hooping in them. I always felt those were kind of hard on my feet around the top for the toes, but you know, just to be able to get the Jordans was a big deal. So I lace up, wear my J's, drop 30. And so yeah, these are cool, but I like my favorite Jordan was the Jordan 5s.
Okay. I think you had some games where you played in some Jordan 5s.
Oh yeah, I was rocking the white ones and I think a couple of the clips too.
Yep. That's cool, man. That's crazy. Well, again, man, Schea, I appreciate you, bro. And like I said, man, I definitely appreciate you jumping on and, like I said, sharing some good game with us. It's been, for me, I've been wanting to do this for 2 years, bro. And there's nobody that I wanted more than Schea Cotton. Like I said, the 8-year-old me is going crazy right now that I can interview you. So appreciate you, bro. And everybody, again, tap into the documentary. And you also got some other products that you're promoting too, right? You got the essential oil.
We got this new MANCHILD Therapeutics heat roll-on. It's an essential oil. It does wonders. I've been using it for the last 6-7 months. If you have any ailments, any discomfort, arthritic joints, any muscle strains and things like that, this is the remedy right here. You can find this right now on my website at therealmanchild.com, www.therealmanchild.com. Order it. It's $49.99. Punch the cart, order up, enjoy it. Thank you for the opportunity, B. Really appreciate it, man.
Already, no problem. Like I said, I just got back in the working out a little bit too, so I'm gonna probably have to go ahead and tap in and give you some essential oil, some MANCHILD essential oil. I'm gonna tap in as soon as we get off the chat. So again, bro, I appreciate you. You're a legend, bro. Hopefully, again, like I said, as many people can hear this story as possible. And again, I got nothing but respect for you for tapping in and making this so cool and making it, like I said, it was like butter, man. So I appreciate you, bro, for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, bro. Love.
Already. Yes, sir. Love, bro.